The writer, director, and the executive producer of Satellite Beach, Luke Wilson and Christopher Malik. Okay. And the director of The Learning Curve, Phil McCarty, excuse me, Phil. And I'll be right down. Oh, let's bring up also your co-writer, David Dark. Let's bring him up too, because that was a really good film. And last but not least, you saw at the end of the presentation, there was a teaser trailer for a great web series that's about to come up very soon called Infinity. It stars the gorgeous and talented Playmate of the Year, Raquel Pamplun, along with Jalen Moore from The Hunger Games Part 2, French superstar and about to take over America, Yassine Azzouz, and Kelly Albanese. And I'd like to bring up the director and the writer for this incredible series called Infinity, Philippe Cassius. Can you guys hear me? No? I'll do it this way. First off, I want to do a cheers for these guys because these were incredible films, written beautifully, acted incredibly, and just fun. So cheers to you guys. Cheers. Thank you. All right, let's have some fun. Luke and Chris, what were you guys thinking? Because I looked at this, I saw it earlier today, and I thought, the first thing that came out of me was, how did you get that shot of the Endeavor at LAX? Was this like a guerrilla, go guerrilla? Did you have permission or? Because it was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always one of those things like, I know why I did it, but I can't believe I talked this guy into doing it. But yeah, we didn't have any permits and we did just kind of do it guerrilla style, and our whole feeling doing it, and I'm sure it's like these other guys is, you know, you can get bogged down with notes and other people's ideas and things getting put in development, and you find yourself saying, gosh, I'd really like to do something and do it my way. And that's hard enough to do, but yeah, once you start to do it, it is kind of liberating. But yeah, we just kind of did it. I was saying to a friend, we didn't even do it guerrilla style. We didn't have the money. It was more chimpanzee style.
So how much prep time did it take for you and Chris to make this happen?
Did it real fast. I'd seen an article in the LA Times about the guy that was actually in charge of it. And that's where I'd gotten the idea to play a guy who thought he was in charge of the moving of the Endeavor. And I think we had maybe about a month, and then got together a couple cameras, and then my brother Andrew and another couple friends, and 15-passenger van.
Wow.
And yeah, that's kind of how we did it.
How'd you convince Chris to get on board?
I don't know. Chris is we're kind of simpatico. We'd made a movie together, and like on the way over here, I was stuck in traffic, and I just sent him a text that said "fucking Lincoln," and I got back a text from him saying "great title."
Wow.
So that's kind of why we work together. We've kind of got
awesome.
the same tastes.
Wow.
But no, we'd done a movie together called Middlemen, and Yeah, it's like, we'll text each other at night like 252 Manhunter, the original, or 260 Pope of Greenwich Village. And, it's like we just kind of grew up, watching the same movies.
Yeah, it's a chance to do a short, and Luke's very talented, very funny, and Andrew and Luke work really well together. And the idea of doing something outside of the system that wasn't a bank breaker, and we prepped in our minds, or he did, for a month, but the actual prep was more like 12 hours. I mean, we got the cameras together that I had, and we sort of did it the way I think people used to make films. So for me, that was interesting, not having to get approvals or bonds or insurance, and the risk of him getting arrested would have been great press. So that didn't happen. But no downside. Yeah.
There was one scene that I really loved, was when your character, as the Endeavor is going by, goes on a payphone. Who goes on a payphone? Like, where
that is just a real payphone.
Really?
No, that was right, actually, as it was beginning to cross the Manchester Bridge, and they'd had it parked there by that Randy's Donut's that kind of iconic sign, and they were filming a Super Bowl commercial for Toyota where it got actually pulled across by a Toyota Tundra, and we did walk right into the middle of that commercial. Yeah, but everybody seemed pretty understanding. I don't know if we'll be getting any courtesy cars from Toyota anytime in the near future.
Incredible. All right.
Thanks for showing it.
Yeah, thank you. Phil and Dave. Dave? Okay. How did you get this started? Because this blew me away when I first saw it. It was the pacing, the dancing of the dialogue. It was really just excellent. I mean, to go into creative writing and to act that out in the scenarios. How did you come up with that, Dave?
Well, this is mostly based off of The Learning Curve, the essay by David Sedaris.
Mm-hmm.
And so we really put our own spin on it. But in terms of pacing and that dance that you talk about, it's a lot of variety. Even in your shorts and your features and everything you write, you need variety. You can have a show that's 4 4-minute pieces, and if they all feel the same, regardless of quality, you'll put your audience and like you'll hypnotize them almost. So you've got to go up and down, even if it's in an individual scene itself, in the up and downs, or in the whole piece by itself. Yeah.
And Phil, how did you get that leading guy?
So it's kind of a cool story. We moved out here from Florida not too long ago. Sorry, can you hear me? Yes, I have a tendency of doing this because I'm insecure. So what we always thought that, like, oh, you have to have like Luke Wilson has to be your best friend, and then he'll get you to do something, right? But we thought that was the way it worked, and we wrote the script, we adapted it, and we had no friends that were like, of any kind of like draw, essentially. That's a knowing laugh. You guys know what I'm talking about. So, but friends were like, oh, Matthew Gray Gilbert, check it out. And we sent him the script. We didn't have like money. We didn't have any kind of like, hey, we've done these other 10 great things, do this. But I feel like it was a testimony more than anything else that if you, David Sedaris' writing is here. So like, if you write something if you adapt or write something that is good, like talented actors, they want to do it. And that was the most refreshing thing for me. Because I thought that everyone was like, I got to be in, Guardians of the Galaxy 10 so I can buy 10 houses in Malibu. But no, like actors, they just enjoy acting. So if you're no one that has a decent script, he's going to like correct me right now. I can see him. He's like, loaded. Yeah.
Phil's not being completely honest because like everybody hears about people who have it. And like Phil has it where he's just like extremely lovable, and it's terribly hard to hate him. I want to all the time, but I'm unable to. Police will pull him over and then like not give him tickets. It's crazy. It's insane. There's it, and like talk to him after, and this guy has it.
Is anyone recording this? Anyone? Because he's never said anything that nice ever.
But I say to your face, you don't need it. You don't need to hear that again because your ego's.
Sorry, that was a long answer to. So the condensed version of that is that Phil is awesome, and basically it was just like by loving what we do, and putting everything we could into the script. We made something that someone else thought was good and they wanted to be in it as well. I feel like that's kind of, that's the answer. It's like just doing your best, right?
Yeah. And you made it so fun. I mean, what was it like on set to go through that? Because you can just tell you guys had a blast doing it.
I take the. You laughed and then covered your mouth afterwards because you were embarrassed about laughing. What is that all about? Okay, no, I mean, I saw it. Sorry. For those of you that can't see her, she went, yeah, she did it twice. I'm drunk. So the way we did this was that it was fun because, so the film was a collaborative thing, right? And so we were very lucky in that I knew a couple people that had been working in town for a while. So I got them to hire people that they loved and respected. So our job was really, like, people like to pretend like directors have to like commandeer shit and you really don't. You again. And you really don't. You just have to kind of like get great people that love what they do and make minor adjustments. So it was just fun to watch Matthew do great things and Quinn, our cinematographer, do great things and great ideas. And our first AD, like, everyone was killing it. And so our job as like writers and producers and director was just to go, oh, what if you tried this? What if you tried this? What if you tried this? And it felt like fun because everyone around us was great at what they did. And they were doing it not because we didn't have any money to pay them, really, because they loved the material. And so when people are doing things that they love, I'm like, that's fantastic.
And it really showed. It really, really showed. Before I get to Philippe, I have to make an announcement that unfortunately Stephanie Lane, who did Trouble in the Shadowy Death Blow, could not make it. She had a personal emergency, but we're grateful that she allowed us to watch her film because that was great with Tony Hale as the mediocre guy who learns the death blow, which was incredible. So I just wanted to mention that real quick. So, and anyway, going back to Philippe. Okay, so he has this great web series coming up called Infinity. And so I was trying to get a little bit of something from him about what it's about. So I've given him a couple hours to think about it. And what I heard is great, but I want to hear from the man whose mind is trying to put it onto digital. So give it to us. What's Infinity about?
Before I get to that, I'm still stuck on the liberating thing. I was liberated until they came and they shut us down. It was so incredibly liberating. And then I turned around and there was a cop walking towards us. And I was like, how liberating is this? Yeah. What's Infinity about? I feel outnumbered. It's 4 against 1, and these guys had awesome stories. Infinity, the Infinity Sign. I guess it's just duality. It's very new. It's very new. I was asked to put some ideas together, and I had a lot of ideas, so I tried to make something very concise and just kind of spat on a page, and everyone bought it and loved it. So in short, it's about trying to be good when you're bad and trying to let yourself off the hook for being bad because you think it's not that bad. I really have no idea where I'm going with this.
Gotcha. That's good. No. That's good. I had to put you on the spot a little bit.
It's like a yin and yang infinity.
Yeah.
I guess it means different things to different people, but at core, it's about being a little bit of both. You let yourself off the hook for being either at any time, I guess. Now,
Raquel's your leading lady. So tell me, how'd you find her?
No one else showed up. Just kidding. Again, it was put to me to try to write something specific for Playmate of the Year 2013. I know, it sucks. Right? Of all the things, really?
There you go.
But yeah, I was actually asked to put her in a certain light, and not the obvious light of the playmate, the ditzy girl, the what have you. So I came up with an idea that was someone who's a lot of spiritual compass, a moral compass, but also knew how to handle a gun and fight. And there was an idea of like a Laura Croft type character. And then that was very liberating. And then the attorney called. So that it wasn't as liberating after that call. So we said, you know what, let's just build on that and let's just keep going with that. Raquel's actually the first Latina playmate. So we just said, let's go for the first. So it's a work in progress. We're building this identity for Raquel. The character's named Nyla, and very strong, like I said, spiritual compass, moral compass, but she's also pretty badass. And that's the duality, I guess, the yin and the yang.
I'm looking forward to it. It sounds like an incredible project. So,
Yeah.
so I wish you well on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Definitely. So, I want to go back to Luke and Chris real quick. Your cinematographer, Bud Kemp.
Crimp, but
Crimp.
Crimp.
I'm sorry, Crimp. He had this shot of the tail of the Endeavor that was going by as a plane was going through, and then the sun hit. What the hell?
Yeah,
That was brilliant. I mean, you can't plan that, but you sit there, you go, holy, it's.
Bud was a guy I'd met on this HBO show, and we just gotten along real well, and had to do these kind of difficult scenes together, and always liked him and could tell he was a good guy. And when the show ended, he'd said, hey, if you ever do anything, let me know. And so, like a year later, I called him and I said, hey, Bud, it's Luke, actually got this idea. And I told him the idea, and I was like, I thought the line went dead. It's like, Bud, are you still there? Do I still have you? And, but no, he did like the idea, and just got a really good eye. And yeah, we did have to hustle around, and we didn't have a shot list, and so that, made me feel really uptight, to show up each day and say, I don't know what we're gonna do, guys. Let's just do the best we can.
Yeah.
It's one of those things like, hey, we just want to do it our way, and then it turns out our way was not having a way.
And then you got this.
Yeah, I was like, well, I rented a car. What else do you guys want from me? I got cheeseburgers right there. So yeah, Bud's just an incredible guy, and yeah, as you guys know, it's really that's kind of the main person you look to.
Also, I should say, actually, Bud was the beat camera and the Steadicam operator on Middlemen, which, was a long, long time ago, but I guess in movie terms. And this, I think, was his first DP gig. But this is a guy that did a 7-minute long Steadicam shot up and down sets of stairs and did it, I think, 7 takes. And a guy with that kind of heart is like, he almost died, but, it happens. But tell him about the shoe, putting the camera.
Oh, we just had interesting ideas for shots, and there's a shot where it's shooting down a street, and I walk right over the camera and looked out, and Bud was in the middle of Crenshaw Boulevard with one shoe on, and his camera in his shoe, trying to position it just so. So it was kind of, yeah, it's just like the way you always kind of want to be working with guys. When you read about it and you think, gosh, that sounds great, and then you can kind of move away from that kind of inventive filmmaking where you really, because of a lack of funds or manpower, you wind up coming up with good ideas like you did.
Let's talk after this.
Yeah. For sure.
All right, I'm going to bring it to you, Phil and Dave. Like going through with your DPs and all the challenges, tell us about the process of what you went through to create this masterpiece.
I got the last one.
For us, the look of this was very much dictated by the DP. She's bringing her on. Like, I think, how long did we waited for this woman? How long did we wait for her?
Long enough to be cool for the answer, but not too long to be neat.
So yeah, best answer, think of it in your mind. That's what it did. Yeah, so we waited for a long time for her because we loved her work. And once you once you trust that, you can really give yourself over to the decisions that she makes. And so, because it's also sort of like, let the professional do their job. You know, I don't know as much about DPing as this woman, no way. So when she says that this is going to be the best way to do it, and it doesn't conflict with what's going to go on the scene, maybe I should listen to this woman with wealth of experience, you know, but that's, you know, just how it goes.
Well, not trying to sound sexist, how is it like to have a woman as a DP? Because usually hear about men doing it, and to have that female perspective heightens.
I was raised, you know, largely, I was raised by my mom. So when a woman talks, I'm like, yes. So like, it was supernatural. It was the most natural thing in the world. And I shouldn't be answering questions now, but whatever. I feel like by and large, and this is, please don't quote, I feel like guys are kind of like shitty and snipering, and girls are kind of like nurturing. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
You heard him.
So to that end,
You heard him.
so that when like this is bad, you know that it's bad.
Women are better DPs than guys. That's what I said.
that's the consent. That's the basic gist, right? I feel
I'm
like
just kidding.
I'm more inclined to trust. This is like reverse sexism. I'm more inclined. He's like no. Like point being, if I could work with Queen, if I could work with my DPA for the rest of my career, I would do that. That's my final answer.
Cool. All right, you get out of jail quick, brother.
Did you see how he recovered that?
That was nice.
Did you see that?
That's why he's a director.
Like,
he
that's
knows
it.
how to direct.
You can't practice that.
Exactly. Okay, so now these guys are yours. If you have any questions, don't be afraid. Stand up, ask, because that's what they're here for. They're here
We
from you guys.
love questions.
Yes. I don't know if this is going to reach, but if you can just speak really loud, and I'll repeat your question.
I got a question for Luke Wilson. My daughter and I covered the Endeavor thing for CNN, and we were featured on CNN. The closest we could get to that damn thing was under a Wayne Watts. How in the hell did you get closer than we could get?
I think your problem was that you had permits. That wardrobe I actually got at Sears, and then had a steel clipboard, and I mean we were all shocked at how close you could get. I mean sometimes people would recognize me, and sometimes people really thought I had something to do with it, and then then there were some really nice LAPD officers who were like, Luke, are you okay? Like the guy, he's really into the space program, I guess. So, yeah.
They kept telling us, get the hell out of here. Yeah. And then we've got to have you in our pictures. We know we do.
I'm sure I'm in a Toyota ad.
Like you mentioned, there was that one scene where you told the LAPD guy to just shoo away, and he just got.
Right.
Really?
I mean,
I'm sitting there going,
you know,
wow.
I did feel like I was losing my mind after a lifetime of avoiding the police. I was going up, talking to them, but I mean, those guys were so kind of nice. And, I would walk up and say, hey, do you guys mind if I ask you to move? You're welcome to say no. And yeah, those guys would kind of look at each other and be like, yeah, he wants us to just move. Yeah, sure, man. Okay, go ahead.
If she doesn't want nice with us, they can get the hell out of here.
That's just awesome. Pays to be Luke Wilson. Any other questions? Yes, sir. What's
Next project?
next project? Yes.
Oh, well, I mean, we did make another short. We went in kind of a different direction this time, kind of a slapstick buddy comedy called Unemployed, with me and a friend about kind of a road trip. But I mean, I already find myself thinking like it's a band with a sophomore slump of an album. Not that this was any big hit, but no, yeah, we made another short film and then have some other projects.
Follow-up question. You know, you've done feature films, everything. You know, you've done it all. Why shorts and why now?
I mean, I always like reading about people like, Dennis Hopper making experimental movies, and even, people like Neil Young getting into film here and there. And yeah, I mean, we've tried to get some things made and had success. And then, yeah, you have other times when you get notes and people want to develop things and you're getting ideas from people that you might not necessarily feel, that you have the same tastes as. So you find yourself thinking, yeah, I'd like to try and do it my way. Our way.
Bill, kind of a follow-up question for you and Dave. Because now that you guys have done shorts and you want to move into feature films, obviously, are you nervous about the fact that if you're working with the studio, you're going to get those notes, you're going to get that input, and even though you might get the money, it's kind of a compromise or something you're looking forward to?
Do you want like a PC answer or like the?
No, I want the real answer. No PC. That's what these guys are here
He's shaking his. Okay, so I'll give you both.
I'm not
the
a
money.
publicist. I don't
I'll
care.
do the PC answer.
You guys want me to play the executive?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Let's
Here's
do
why that
Do
doesn't
yes.
work.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
I hear what you're saying, guys. Here's why it doesn't work. No.
I was actually a showrunner taught me the right answer to that. Let's try that again. Here's my idea. Go.
No, I'm sorry.
And the answer to that is I'll think about that. Good note. I'll think about that.
Noted.
Noted. Exactly. I think here's a safe answer. Almost all of my favorite movies have been the subject of a notes process, so I don't feel like it's impossible to make a good movie beneath the notes process. Does that make sense?
I hear you. Yeah. Makes sense.
So I guess he's saying that like if the really, really cream of the crop writers and artists can really struggle through the process and come out with something great regardless of whoever's trying to get their fingers in it.
Yeah, there's an extent to which necessity is the mother of invention, right? So if a studio tells us something crazy that we're not into, it's like it's the best worst problem to have. Like, I'm making a $50 million movie and the studio doesn't like what I like. Like no one's gonna cry for that person. Like I would love that to be the biggest thing I was worrying about, right? Talk to my landlord about rent. I could if I could drop that conversation forever and just talk about notes. Hell yeah.
Man, you're totally gonna get a 2-picture deal at Sony. You got it. It's done. So, any questions? Any more? Anybody else?
Yes, please, we love them. Oh, over here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right over here.
For which guys? The minorities. I'm not excluding you.
Not worldwide.
That was our idea. We went back and forth trying to figure out a way, because just a quick, I'm curious, how many people here have read a story by David Sedaris? Anyone? 1, 2, like 50? Okay, sweet. So, hey. I pointed and made a noise at you. You missed it. So we tried to we wanted to visualize his interior monologue, and it's very small percentage of his story is based on what he's saying in any given scene. And we wanted to kind of somehow take advantage of the visual medium of film to concretize what he's doing internally. And we realized pretty quickly on that there's a chalkboard in every single scene. So why not use that to kind of in a way that makes sense for the story and it's not visual effects for the sake of visual effects, try to express his interior monologue. Does that make sense, I guess? So did you like it? Or were you like, what made you do that? It was terrible.
When I was a screenwriter right now, I was wondering how do you write that into the script?
Oh, really easily. So it's line, scribble.
There was a note.
Colon, fire erupts behind him. Scribble, you know what I mean? It was like that.
I think you should put flames on the chalkboard.
I scribble, there were flames on the chalkboard. Yes.
I would have loved that note actually.
That's
I
how
was
we
like, oh yeah, that's
Yeah, there was no reference point for it. There's no James Cameron scribble, aliens jump out from behind. Yeah.
And we will do
What do you want?
one last question, and I will give it to this young lady.
Hi, my name's Heather. I'm just curious. We
Well, for Satellite Beach, we shot it with the idea that we distribute it, if there was a such thing as distribution for a short, ourselves, and we do it online. So it's available online at a website that we host with payment platform that we contracted. It'll go to Amazon and iTunes next month to give it a little bit wider reach. But for us, we've in-house at our production company, we have Larry, who runs our New York business and all of our marketing. And I would bet Luke's done more press for this than any other film he's probably ever done. This is like, honestly, I think I forgot how many festivals we submitted to. We've won 6. And so those laurels really help. Yeah, we're proud of that. And it's just submitted to the Academy. And then the idea is to hopefully make a feature out of it. But we think that there's space online for low dollar, low cost, cool content delivered digitally. It seems to be the way everything's going. So that was our, and we didn't spend a fortune on it. So the recoup is not a lot, hopefully.
Phil?
I just realized I had a question for Luke, actually, that's completely disconnected from that. So the line kind of near the end of the film where you'll say, essentially, the gist is that the memories you make is what makes an experience worth having, essentially. Was that something you had going, was that something you had going into the film, or was that something you discovered on the way? Because
No,
that resonated in a way that was like, oh, hell yeah. But I just want to know where that.
I love that quote too. I have a friend back in Dallas who has gotten to be friends with the astronaut Alan Bean, and I believe that's his quote. And just found it after the movie and thought it figured in. But yeah, I always watch it like, the best line in the movie I didn't even write. But yeah, that is good. I mean, nothing better than a good quote.
Yeah, right on. So what was the question?
Essentially, where you want to take this project next?
Oh, I mean, so we like making movies. We love making movies. We love films. We want to write anything and everything. Steven Soderbergh has a great quote recently where someone asked him like, "Oh, what do you tell a young filmmaker that's coming up